Have you ever found yourself stuck in a loop of self-doubt, playing the same negative thoughts on repeat like a broken record? Maybe it's that one mistake you made months ago, or the voice in your head that whispers, "You're not good enough." We've all been there. But what if you could silence that voice and reclaim control over your mind? Negative thinking, it's one of the most persistent and draining mental habits we all struggle with. Those creeping doubts, that relentless inner critic, the way past mistakes seem to replay endlessly, clouding your present and stealing your peace. At first, it might appear harmless, just a little frustration, a passing wave of self-criticism. But left unchecked, it grows. It becomes a cycle, a habit, a lens through which you start to view yourself, your life, and even the people around you. And the most dangerous part, it begins to feel normal. But what if I told you that it doesn't have to be this way? That you're not doomed to live under the shadow of your thoughts? That you can break free from this mental trap and rebuild a stronger, calmer, more empowered version of yourself? That's exactly what we're diving into today. Inspired by the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the enduring strength of Stoic philosophy, this isn't about slapping on fake positivity or pretending everything is fine. It's about understanding how your thoughts work, learning to manage them, and developing a mindset that lifts you up instead of holding you back. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That idea sits at the heart of Stoicism. We may not control the world around us, but we absolutely control how we interpret it, how we respond to it, and ultimately, how we experience our lives. In this episode, we'll uncover practical strategies to break the cycle of negative thinking. You'll learn how to shift your perspective, reframe challenges, and create daily habits that build resilience, clarity, and inner peace. These aren't abstract concepts. They're simple, powerful tools you can start using right now to transform your mindset and reshape your life. So if you've ever felt paralyzed by doubt, overwhelmed by fear, or frustrated by your inner critic, stick with me. This isn't just another think positive pep talk. This is about mastering your thoughts, aligning them with your values, and reclaiming the mental freedom you deserve. Let's begin this journey together toward clarity, strength, and a deeper sense of freedom. Lesson 1. The power of controlling your perceptions. Negative thinking often takes root in how we interpret the world, not in the world itself. It's not events that disturb us, but the meaning we assign to them. That misunderstanding lies at the center of so much unnecessary frustration and emotional suffering. Think about it. You receive criticism at work. Your immediate response? "I'm a failure. I'm not cut out for this." But pause. Is that the truth, or is it just your perception? Marcus Aurelius captured this brilliantly. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. In simpler terms, it's not what happens, it's how you think about what happens. Your perception acts like a lens. If that lens is fogged by negativity, even small problems can seem overwhelming. But if you clean the lens, if you gain clarity, you'll see that many situations aren't nearly as bad as they first appeared. So as we move forward, remember this. You have the power to choose how you see the world, and in that choice lies your greatest strength. What if, instead of spiraling into self-doubt, you paused and told yourself, "This feedback is an opportunity to grow. I can learn something here." The situation itself hasn't changed. Only your perception has. But with that shift, something powerful happens. Your emotional response softens, your energy returns, and your confidence begins to rebuild. The danger of distorted perceptions is how quickly they take root. Left unexamined, they begin to shape not just how you see isolated events, but how you see yourself, your relationships, and even the world around you. Over time, these thought patterns become habits, quietly limiting your potential and draining your peace of mind. They turn setbacks into identity statements and discomfort into fear. But here's the good news. You can take back control, and it all begins with one essential skill: awareness. Start paying close attention to the thoughts that arise when you're faced with challenges, criticism, or uncertainty. Ask yourself honestly, is the story I'm telling myself helping me or hurting me? More often than not, you'll realize that it's not the event itself that causes suffering, but the meaning you've assigned to it. That story is yours to revise. The second step, challenge those interpretations. When you notice yourself slipping into a negative spiral, pause, breathe, ask, is there another way to look at this? One that strengthens me instead of drains me? Even if that shift feels small in the moment, it can be the turning point between feeling powerless and feeling in control. Next, practice the habit of reframing. Instead of locking in on what's wrong, look for what's possible. Stuck in traffic. Sure, it's frustrating, but what if you use that time to listen to a podcast that inspires you? Or simply practice stillness, breathing, observing, being? This is what controlling your perceptions is really about. It's not about denying reality or pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing a mindset that serves you rather than sabotages you. It's the difference between being a victim of your thoughts and becoming the master of your mental world. Because at the end of the day, while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can always control how you respond within you. So the next time life throws you a curveball, pause. Remind yourself, this isn't just about the event. It's about how I choose to perceive it. In that pause, you reclaim your power. And in that power, you begin building a mind that supports your peace, your purpose, and your potential. Lesson 2, unraveling the roots of negative thinking. Now that you've started shifting your perspective, let's go one layer deeper. Because negative thinking isn't just a habit, it's often a protective pattern, rooted in past pain. These patterns usually stem from deeply personal origins: your upbringing, past failures, harsh criticism, societal pressure, or even internalized fears. Your mind, in an attempt to shield you, creates a kind of mental armor by assuming the worst. It says, expect disappointment and you'll never be blindsided. Sound familiar? It's a survival tactic, but in reality, it's a trap. Instead of preparing you for the future, it anchors you to the past. Instead of making you stronger, it keeps you stuck, afraid to take risks, hesitant to believe in yourself, and too cautious to grow. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully when he said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And it's true. The more you think in fear, failure, or frustration, the more your world starts to look like a reflection of that mindset. Eventually, the thought becomes your truth, even if it never was to begin with. Let's make it practical. Imagine you're preparing for a presentation, and your inner voice whispers, "You're going to mess this up. Everyone will judge you." Where is that coming from? Not from the truth, but from an echo of the past. Maybe a time you were embarrassed, criticized, or made to feel inadequate. That fear didn't appear out of nowhere. It was learned. And like any learned behavior, it can be unlearned too. Recognizing the root of your negative thoughts isn't weakness. It's wisdom. And it's the first step toward letting go of old narratives so you can write new ones built on clarity, courage, and confidence. Maybe you stumbled once. Maybe you failed, got embarrassed, or were told you weren't good enough. And now, like a scratched record, your mind replays that moment over and over, like a warning siren trying to protect you. But here's the truth. That past version of you, it's not who you are now. And it certainly doesn't get to dictate your future. Recognizing this is the first step to breaking free from the grip of negativity. So how do you begin unraveling these mental knots? Start with awareness. When a negative thought creeps in, don't just react. Pause. Trace it back. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? Is it based on truth, or is it just an old, tired story I've been repeating for years? This simple act of reflection helps you separate facts from fears. And once you've identified the root, it's time to challenge it. For instance, if you're afraid of failing, recall moments where you succeeded despite uncertainty. If your mind keeps whispering, "I'm not good enough," counter that voice. Really? What proof do I have that this is true? More often than not, those thoughts aren't grounded in reality. They're built on outdated assumptions. And here's the key. Once you confront the thought, don't leave an empty space. Replace it. This doesn't mean slapping on fake positivity or pretending everything is perfect. Instead, choose a thought that serves your growth. Instead of, "I'll never be good enough," try, "I'm still learning, and every step I take brings me closer to where I want to be." It's like cleaning out a messy, overstuffed closet. At first, it's overwhelming. You've been holding on to these thought patterns for so long that letting them go feels uncomfortable, even scary. But as you sort through the clutter and release what no longer fits, you realize how much lighter, calmer, and freer you feel. Negative thinking may feel automatic now, but it's not permanent. The more often you pause, identify, and replace these thoughts, the more you rewire your mind toward clarity and strength. Because at the end of the day, these thoughts are just habits. And like any habit, they can be broken. So the next time negativity creeps in and that voice says, "You can't," pause, breathe, and remind yourself, this isn't who I am. It's just an old pattern, and I have the power to change it. That awareness, that's your first step toward real freedom. Lesson 3, renewing your mind. Negative thinking is like an outdated script that keeps playing in the background of your mind, so familiar that you barely notice it's there. It whispers the same lines over and over until eventually you believe them. But here's the empowering truth. Your mind is not fixed. It's adaptable, teachable, and capable of transformation. The patterns it has learned, it can unlearn. And that's exactly what renewing your mind is all about. It starts with a powerful realization. You don't have to accept every thought that crosses your mind. Not every thought is true. Not every thought is useful. And not every thought deserves your attention. Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Think about that. What you dwell on shapes your experience of life. If your mind is filled with fear, self-criticism, and doubt, that becomes your filter for everything you do. But when you begin to feed your mind empowering, realistic, growth-focused thoughts, everything changes. Once you've caught a negative thought in action, don't let it run wild. Pause. Question it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Do I have solid evidence for this, or am I simply assuming the worst? You'll find that, more often than not, those thoughts aren't based on facts. They're fueled by fear, past wounds, or insecurity. They pretend to protect you, but all they really do is hold you back. So what's next? Replace them. Not with toxic positivity, but with constructive truths, statements that empower you and keep you grounded. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," try shifting it to, "I'm still learning, and every step I take moves me closer to where I want to be." That one small shift can completely change the energy you bring to a challenge. One of the most effective tools for renewing your mind is something called reframing. Reframing means taking the same event, the same challenge, and choosing to view it through a different, more empowering lens. Let's say you didn't get the job, or someone turned you down. Your first instinct might be, "I'm not good enough." But what if, instead, you reframed it as, "This is an opportunity to reflect improve, and show up even better next time. The situation itself hasn't changed, but your mindset has. And that changes everything. Reframing helps you step out of the victim mindset and into a growth mindset, one that sees setbacks as setups for something greater. Another powerful practice, gratitude. It may sound simple, but its impact is profound. When you take time, even just a few moments each day, to reflect on what's going right, you train your brain to shift away from the spiral of negativity. It's like updating the software of your mind to scan for possibility instead of problems. Gratitude doesn't erase difficulty, but it changes your relationship to it. Think of the process of renewing your mind like cleaning a foggy window. At first, everything outside looks dull, distorted, even hopeless. But with intentional effort, wiping away the buildup of limiting beliefs, toxic self-talk, and distorted perceptions, you begin to see the world more clearly. More importantly, you begin to see yourself more clearly. And remember, this isn't about ignoring hard truths or pretending everything's fine. It's about choosing what you focus on, what you feed your mind. It's about building mental habits that uplift you, not ones that weigh you down. So the next time your thoughts start pulling you into a loop of self-doubt or frustration, stop and ask yourself, is this thought helping me grow or holding me back? Then gently but firmly choose a better one, because every thought you choose is a step toward healing, toward strength, toward becoming the person you're truly capable of being. Lesson 4. Surrounding yourself with positivity. Now that you've begun to master the internal environment of your thoughts, it's time to examine something just as powerful, your external environment. Because the truth is, the people, spaces, and energy you surround yourself with can either elevate you or slowly drag you down. You might not realize it right away, but the people you surround yourself with have a direct impact on your mindset, motivation, and emotional well-being. The tone of your thoughts, the level of your self-worth, often reflects the voices and environments you're exposed to daily. That's why it's so important to be mindful of who and what is influencing your inner world. Now, cultivating a positive environment doesn't mean cutting everyone off or pretending life should only be sunshine and good vibes. It simply means prioritizing the people and things that nourish your growth and gently creating boundaries with those that don't. Let's take a moment to reflect. Do you have someone in your life who constantly complains, criticizes, or drains your energy with negativity? If so, it's okay to create some space. You don't have to confront or condemn them. Instead, consider spending less time in that energy and redirect your focus toward those who uplift you, celebrate your progress, and challenge you to become a better version of yourself. It's also not just about people. Your physical space plays a huge role in your mental state. A cluttered desk, messy room, or noisy environment can create unnecessary stress and mental fatigue. On the other hand, a clean, organized, and intentionally designed space can bring calm, clarity, and even inspiration. Think about where you spend the most time: your home, your workspace, even your digital world. Are those spaces giving you energy, or are they quietly adding stress to your day? A few small changes can make a huge difference. Declutter one area that's been bothering you. Add something that makes you feel at peace, like a plant, a calming light, or a photo that brings you joy. Limit exposure to online content that makes you feel inadequate or anxious. Because here's the truth: what you consume daily, you become. The books you read, the shows you binge, the posts you scroll, all of them shape your beliefs, moods, and mindset. If your mind is constantly being filled with negativity, comparison, or fear-driven narratives, it will reflect in your inner dialogue. But you can take control. Choose content that inspires, educates, and expands your thinking. Read stories of resilience. Watch content that promotes self-mastery and purpose. Listen to voices that encourage growth and help you connect to your values. Here's a practical shift you can try right now. Let's say you've been scrolling through social media and you feel that creeping sense of not being enough. Instead of sitting with that heaviness, hit pause. Unfollow the accounts that fuel comparison. Then follow one or two creators who share positivity, personal growth insights, or something that reflects a hobby or interest you love. Over time, these simple steps begin to shift how you feel, not just online, but in everyday life. Creating a positive environment isn't about being naive or pretending negativity doesn't exist. It's about actively nurturing what helps you thrive. Think of yourself like a garden. You can't stop every storm from hitting, but you can choose the soil, the seeds, and the care you give to yourself. So the next time you feel mentally overwhelmed or emotionally low, stop and ask, is my environment helping me heal and grow, or keeping me stuck in negativity? Then take one small action. Call someone who energizes you. Tidy your desk. Play a podcast that lifts your mindset. Every small step compounds into a powerful shift over time. Remember, surrounding yourself with positivity isn't about creating a perfect world. It's about building a foundation where clarity, peace, and strength can flourish, no matter what life throws your way. Lesson 5. Taking Stoic Action. Negative thoughts don't survive where purposeful action thrives. Let's explore how Stoic wisdom can help you break free from overthinking and step into movement with clarity and courage. Instead of staying stuck in an endless loop of doubt or fear, Stoicism teaches us to redirect that energy toward meaningful action. Let's say you're worried about an upcoming exam. Your mind replays worst-case scenarios, but instead of spinning your wheels in anxiety, what if you simply sat down and studied for an hour? That one act immediately puts you back in control. You're no longer a passive observer of your fears. You become the driver of your life. Action creates momentum. Picture this. You're standing at the base of a steep hill. The longer you hesitate, the steeper it seems. But the moment you take a single step forward, no matter how small, the task begins to feel manageable. And each step reinforces the belief that you can keep going. That's the power of movement. Here's a real-world example. Let's say you've been avoiding a project because you're worried it won't turn out perfectly. Instead of waiting for that mythical, perfect moment, break it down. Write one sentence. Outline your ideas. Set a timer for 10 minutes and just begin. These micro actions not only chip away at procrastination, but they quiet the internal critic that says, I'm not capable. A core principle of Stoic action is alignment. Aligning your actions with your values. Ask yourself, what do I care most about? How can my next step reflect that? When you act from a place of purpose instead of fear, you build real confidence, not just momentary motivation. For example, if you value kindness, lean into it, even when you're doubting yourself. Help someone else. Send that encouraging message. When you're trapped in negative thinking, helping others can serve as a powerful emotional reset. And remember, taking action doesn't mean the path will always be smooth. You'll still make mistakes. You'll still face uncertainty. But each action you take is a statement. I will not be defined by fear. To the Stoics, challenges weren't roadblocks. They were chances to grow. Every time you move forward despite fear, you strengthen your inner armor. Think of action like lighting a candle in a dark room. The darkness won't vanish, but the light gives you clarity. With every step, the flame grows, and the shadows of doubt shrink. So the next time your thoughts start to spiral, pause and ask yourself, what's one small step I can take right now? Then take it. It could be replying to that message you've been avoiding, going for a walk, or simply getting up and stretching. Because ultimately, your life isn't shaped by the thoughts you have. It's shaped by the actions you take. And every action, no matter how small, is a brick laid in the foundation of a life built on purpose, resilience, and strength. Lesson 6, the power of words. The words you speak, especially the ones you tell yourself, can either lift you up or tear you down. Let's explore how Stoic wisdom helps you master your inner dialogue. Coming off the momentum of Stoic action, it's time to focus on something just as powerful: how the words you use, both silently in your mind and aloud in the world, can either build you up or slowly break you down. Words aren't just expressions of how you feel. They are tools that shape your mindset and influence your reality. Whether spoken out loud or kept in silence, your words become the script your mind follows. So how do we use them to rise instead of spiral? Let's begin with your inner dialogue, that constant stream of thoughts quietly narrating your life. When things go wrong, do you catch yourself saying, "I'm such a failure," or "I'll never get this right"? At first glance, these phrases may seem harmless, but over time, they become self-fulfilling prophecies. They chip away at your confidence and reinforce a negative identity. But here's the good news. You have the power to change that narrative. Try reframing. When you make a mistake, instead of "I'm terrible at this," shift to "I'm still learning. Mistakes help me grow." This subtle change softens the emotional blow and refocuses your energy on progress instead of shame. Now think about how you speak to others. Complaining, gossiping, or focusing only on what's wrong doesn't just pull down your energy, it spreads negativity like a fog. But when you speak with kindness, gratitude, and encouragement, you lift not only your own spirit, but those around you too. For example, instead of saying, "I'm so stressed, I'll never get this done," try, "This is tough, but I'm taking it step by step." It may seem small, but that shift can reset your mindset entirely. Here's a scene to reflect on. Imagine walking through your front door after a long, draining day. You're tempted to vent and unleash every frustration. And while acknowledging your feelings is healthy, lingering in that negative tone only deepens the stress. Instead, try this. "Today was hard, but it showed me what I need to work on." That reframe doesn't deny the difficulty, it transforms it into fuel for growth. One of the most powerful tools for changing your mindset is using affirmations. Short, intentional statements that remind you of your strengths and values. If self-doubt is your usual guest, greet it with words like, "I am strong enough to handle this," or "I am growing every day." Repetition matters. These words start to feel real because you've decided to make them your truth. Another daily practice that strengthens your language and your perspective is gratitude journaling. At the end of the day, jot down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be huge. A warm cup of coffee, a smile from a stranger, a deep breath between tasks. This simple act trains your brain to look for beauty and goodness, even in chaos. Think of every word, spoken or unspoken, as a seed. Negative words plant weeds that tangle and crowd your mental garden. Positive words, they plant flowers that bloom with peace, clarity, and confidence. And the beauty of it all? You get to choose what seeds you plant. So the next time you catch yourself in a spiral of harsh self-talk or defeatist phrases, pause. Ask yourself, are these words lifting me up or tearing me down? Then choose better ones. Words that support the mindset you're working to build. Words that light a path forward instead of keeping you in the dark. Because when you choose your words intentionally, you don't just shape your thoughts, you shape your life. Lesson 7, cultivating emotional resilience. Because life won't always go as planned, but your strength lies in how you rise through it. As we learn from the power of words, the way we speak shapes the way we think. Now let's take it one step deeper, into how we respond when life hits hard. Because one of the most powerful antidotes to negativity isn't strength in the moment, it's resilience over time. Life will challenge you. That's a guarantee. Setbacks, failures, disappointments, they're part of the journey. The real question is, how will you respond when adversity knocks? Will you crumble under its weight, or will you rise grounded and clear? This is where emotional resilience steps in. Emotional resilience is the ability to adapt, recover, and even grow stronger in the face of life's toughest moments. And it's not just a trait you're born with, it's something you build moment by moment, choice by choice. Marcus Aurelius captured this truth in a single, powerful sentence. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Resilience isn't about avoiding discomfort or pretending that everything's okay. It's about staying grounded, especially when the world around you feels unstable. So what does resilience look like in action? It begins with acceptance, recognizing that some things are simply outside your control. The more you resist this reality, the more you exhaust yourself fighting battles you were never meant to win. Resilience means shifting that energy away from what's unchangeable and channeling it toward what you can control: your attitude, your choices, your response. Imagine this. You've poured your heart into a project, and suddenly it unravels at the last moment. A negative mindset might spiral into blame, self-doubt, or despair. But a resilient mindset pauses and asks, what's my next best move? That small mental pivot from reaction to intention is the heart of resilience. Another core element of resilience: reframing failure. Instead of treating it as a dead end, see it as a detour, a moment that teaches, redirects, and refines you. Didn't get the promotion? Felt left out? Messed up on something important? It's okay to feel disappointed, but don't stop there. Ask yourself, what can I learn? How can this moment shape me into someone stronger? Every setback holds the seed of a comeback, if you're willing to look for it. Resilience also requires self-compassion. When we fall short, we tend to become our harshest critic. But would you talk to a struggling friend that way? Probably not. You'd offer understanding, encouragement, and patience. So why not do the same for yourself? Acknowledge your feelings without judgment. Remind yourself, I'm human. It's okay to stumble. What matters is that I rise. And no, resilience isn't built overnight. Like a muscle, it grows through regular practice. Two small but powerful habits that strengthen it: mindfulness and gratitude. Start with mindfulness. When emotions feel overwhelming, anger, fear, frustration, pause. Take a deep breath. Give yourself a moment of space before you act or react. That single pause can change the entire trajectory of how you handle stress. Then add gratitude to the mix. Even when life feels heavy, focusing on what you're thankful for creates emotional balance. Gratitude doesn't deny difficulty. It reminds you that there's still beauty, still light, a warm meal, a quiet morning, a friend who checks in. These little anchors keep you steady when the waves rise. Think of resilience like a tree in a storm. The winds may bend its branches, but its roots, deep and steady, keep it standing tall. When you build emotional resilience, you become like that tree. You don't break. You bend, adapt, recover, and emerge even stronger. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by a challenge, pause and say, this is hard, but I've faced hard before, and I have what it takes to face it again. Because every time you bounce back, you grow. Every time you reframe, you rise. And every time you choose resilience, you weaken the grip of negativity and strengthen the foundation of who you're becoming. Lesson 8, practicing gratitude. Because when you learn to appreciate what's already here, you begin to reclaim joy, even in the midst of struggle. Having just explored the strength that emotional resilience brings during life's storms, We now turn to one of the simplest yet most transformative practices for shifting your mindset: gratitude. Gratitude is more than a feel-good emotion. It's a mindset shift, a quiet but powerful rebellion against negativity. When life feels overwhelming, unfair, or just plain exhausting, it's easy to spiral into thoughts about what's missing, what went wrong, or what could have been better. But gratitude gently redirects your focus. It doesn't erase your struggles. It reframes them, helping you notice what's already good in your life, even if those good things seem small. Marcus Aurelius once offered a timeless reminder: do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave them if they were not yours. This wisdom cuts deep. How often do we chase what we lack while ignoring what we already have? That quiet cup of coffee in the morning, the comfort of a home, a conversation with someone who cares. When we overlook these moments, we feed a cycle of dissatisfaction. But when we start to acknowledge them, we begin to shift from scarcity to sufficiency. So what does practicing gratitude actually look like in everyday life? It's not about ignoring pain or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to find something, anything, worth appreciating even on the hard days. For example, if your job feels frustrating, gratitude might mean noticing the helpful colleague who brightens your day, or appreciating that your work gives you the chance to grow, even when it's tough. The power of gratitude lies in its subtle influence on the mind. When you train yourself to actively seek out things to be thankful for, you begin to see life differently. Over time, this rewires your mental patterns, creating a baseline of positivity and emotional balance. One of the easiest and most effective ways to start is by keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, jot down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't need to be grand or profound. Often it's the small things: a smile from a stranger, the smell of rain, the fact that you made it through a difficult conversation, that create the most meaningful shift. By writing them down, you're not just noticing them. You're building a record of hope, a library of light you can return to when darkness creeps in. Another powerful habit is expressing gratitude to others. It could be as simple as thanking a friend for listening, acknowledging a coworker's support, or sending a quick message to someone who's impacted you. These moments of appreciation don't just lift others, they strengthen your relationships and remind you that you're not alone. Let's look at a real-life moment. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, running late. Stress is bubbling up, and you feel the tension in your chest. Now, instead of letting frustration spiral, what if you paused? What if, in that moment, you noticed something to be grateful for? Your favorite podcast playing through the speakers, the safety of your car, or the fact that this delay gives you a rare moment of stillness? Gratitude won't make the traffic disappear, but it can change how you feel inside it. And that's the point. Gratitude also helps put challenges into perspective. The next time you face a setback, try asking yourself, what can I learn from this? Or is there something in this moment, even something small, that I can appreciate? Maybe it's the strength you're building by enduring. Maybe it's clarity about what truly matters. Think of gratitude like lighting a candle in a dark room. It doesn't erase the shadows, but it gives you just enough light to find your footing. And the more you practice it, the brighter that light becomes, guiding you through chaos with calm and through disappointment with perspective. So the next time you feel caught in a whirlwind of negativity, pause and ask, what can I be grateful for right now? It may be something small, but that small shift in focus could be the beginning of a much larger transformation. Lesson 9, practicing gratitude as a daily anchor. Because when gratitude becomes a habit, your entire world starts to shift, one thought at a time. After discovering the light that gratitude can shine even in dark moments, let's take that insight one step further. by embracing the very nature of life itself, its impermanence. Because one of the biggest sources of stress, anxiety, and negative thinking isn't what is, but our deep resistance to what changes. We often cling tightly to what feels familiar, our routines, our relationships, our identity, even our expectations. We want things to stay still, predictable, safe. But the truth is, life doesn't work that way. It never has. Life is in constant motion, an ever-changing flow of moments that rise, evolve, and pass. And while this idea might feel unsettling at first, accepting impermanence is actually one of the most liberating shifts you can make in your mindset. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "All things pass away." What we do in life, how we react, and the decisions we make, that's what remains ours. This wisdom from centuries ago still speaks directly to us today. We can't stop time, but we can decide how we move through it. When we resist change, whether it's a job ending, a relationship shifting, or simply getting older, we invite stress, fear, and emotional suffering. But when we embrace impermanence, we free ourselves from the illusion that we must hold on to everything tightly to be okay. Think of it like this. Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you let it rest in your open palm, it stays. The same goes for life. Let's bring this concept down to earth with an example. Say you've had a falling out with a close friend. The pain is sharp. The silence between you feels unbearable. You might think, this will never be the same, and maybe it won't. But impermanence reminds us that neither the conflict nor the hurt is forever. Time softens, perspectives shift. Whether the relationship heals or you grow separately, the weight of the moment begins to change. Here's another example. Imagine a joyful dinner with family or friends, the kind of evening that makes your heart feel full. Instead of fearing that it will end, lean in. Savor the laughter, the warmth, the connection, because part of what makes it beautiful is the fact that it won't last forever. That's the gift of impermanence. It teaches us to be present, to let go of perfection, to stop demanding that life meet a rigid standard and instead start appreciating its messy, beautiful flow. Even your own thoughts, emotions, and setbacks are impermanent. That moment of self-doubt, it passes. That failure, it becomes a lesson. That fear you felt last week, it's already fading. When you embrace the fleeting nature of all things, you stop being so afraid of change and begin to flow with it. Here are a few simple ways to begin practicing this mindset. Use the phrase, "this too shall pass," as a gentle reminder during hard times. It's a grounding truth. Appreciate beauty in the now. Like a flower that won't bloom forever, enjoy it while it's here. Reflect regularly on how things have changed and evolved in your life. Notice the pain that softened, the joy that returned, the things you thought you'd never get through, but did. Let go of the need for control. You don't have to hold on so tightly. Sometimes the greatest peace comes from loosening your grip. Think of impermanence like a river flowing gently before you. You can't stop the current. You can't freeze the water. But you can learn to float with it, letting it carry you, teach you, and remind you that change isn't the enemy. It's the essence of being alive. And when you begin to see life through this lens, something remarkable happens. You stop fearing the end of good things and start truly living inside them. Lesson 10. Letting go of what no longer serves you. Because once you embrace that nothing lasts forever, you're finally ready to release what's been holding you back. After learning to embrace impermanence and accept that nothing stays the same forever, we naturally arrive at a powerful question. If everything is temporary, then what truly gives my life meaning? The answer lies in discovering and living with purpose, a steady compass when the winds of life change direction. At the core of much of our negative thinking is a lack of direction. When you're unsure of where you're going or why you're doing what you do, it's easy to feel lost, unmotivated, or emotionally weighed down by even the smallest challenges. But having a purpose changes everything. It gives you clarity. It gives your life meaning. It fuels your resilience during hard times. And most importantly, it keeps negativity from taking root. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, people who labor all their lives but have no purpose to direct every thought and impulse are wasting their time, even when hard at work. This timeless reminder challenges the idea that being busy equals being fulfilled. You can hustle from dawn to dusk, chase milestones, and still feel empty if your actions aren't grounded in something deeper. Purpose isn't just about grand achievements or public recognition. It's about aligning what you do with what matters to you. It's about choosing to live in a way that reflects your core values, every day in small but meaningful ways. So how do you start building a purpose-driven life? Begin by asking yourself some deep, reflective questions. What brings me genuine fulfillment? What kind of impact do I want to have on the people around me or even the world? Which of my strengths or values do I want to honor through my actions? Your purpose doesn't have to be big to be powerful. It might be nurturing your family, inspiring others through creativity, learning and growing each day, or being a steady source of support for your friends. What matters is that it matters to you. And having a purpose doesn't mean your life will suddenly be free of struggle. In fact, purposeful living often means facing challenges head-on. But here's the shift. When you know your why, those challenges no longer feel like roadblocks. They become stepping stones. Imagine you're building a business, pursuing your art, or working toward better health. Doubts will come. Setbacks are guaranteed. But when you're anchored in a meaningful reason, whether it's to care for your loved ones, to express your soul, or to become your strongest self, you'll keep showing up even when it's hard. Purpose also acts as a powerful filter. When you're clear on what truly matters, you become less distracted by what doesn't. For example, if your purpose is to foster meaningful relationships, you might start spending less time scrolling and more time having real conversations. If your purpose is personal growth, you'll likely start choosing books over binge watching, self-reflection over temporary distraction. Another transformative power of purpose is how it reshapes your relationship with negativity. When setbacks happen, and they will, your purpose helps you see them not as failures, but as part of the path. Say you miss a workout or stumble in your goal. Instead of spiraling into guilt or self-doubt, you can remind yourself, this is one moment, not the whole story. Purpose keeps the bigger picture in view. Think of purpose like a lighthouse on a foggy sea. Even when storms hit or the path is unclear, its light stays steady. It reminds you where you're headed and gives you the strength to stay the course. To start building a purpose-driven life, you don't need to have all the answers right now. Start small. Reflect on your values. Set intentions that matter. And take daily actions that honor your bigger vision. Purpose isn't a final destination. It's a practice. It evolves as you grow. And that evolution is part of its beauty. So the next time negativity creeps in, or you feel aimless in the noise of everyday life, pause and ask yourself, what truly matters to me? And how can I align today's actions with that clarity? Because when your life is guided by purpose, doubt has less power. Negativity loses its grip, and your days start to feel not just full, but deeply meaningful. And so, as we continue from the steady light of purpose guiding us through life's turbulent seas, remember this. Purpose isn't a final destination. It's the compass that helps us steer through doubt, distraction, and despair. When life gets noisy and negativity starts to cloud your path, it's your sense of purpose that cuts through the fog, reminding you of what truly matters. Think of it like this. You're sailing through a storm. Waves are high. Visibility is low. But on the distant shore, there's a lighthouse casting a steady beam across the darkness. That light? It's your purpose, your why. It doesn't remove the waves, but it helps you stay the course. That's the power of living with direction. To build a purpose-driven life, start small. Reflect on what genuinely matters to you, not what others expect, but what lights you up inside. What are your values? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? Set meaningful goals, no matter how modest they may seem. Then align your daily actions with that bigger vision. Because purpose is not something you stumble upon once and for all. It's something you practice and refine as you grow. It evolves with your experiences, deepens with your struggles, and strengthens with every intentional choice you make. And when negativity creeps in, as it always will, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me right now? And how can I act in alignment with that? That simple moment of reflection can redirect your energy and bring you back to center. By focusing on your purpose, you quiet the noise. You calm the chaos. You begin to build a life that feels deeply fulfilling and uniquely yours. And within that alignment, you'll discover a quiet strength, a resilience that empowers you to rise above every challenge with clarity and conviction. Let's recap what we've uncovered together in this journey. Negative thinking isn't an unchangeable part of who you are. It's a habit, a mental loop that you have the power to rewire. By shifting your perceptions, challenging old narratives, and practicing gratitude, mindfulness, and emotional resilience, you take back control. Through purposeful action and values-based living, you stop merely surviving, you start thriving. As Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That ancient wisdom is still your guiding light today. It's a timeless reminder that no matter what life throws your way, you have the ability to choose your response. You can let go of fear, you can quiet the inner critic, you can build a life rooted in strength, clarity, and purpose. So before you move on with your day, I want to leave you with this. What's one small shift you can make today? Maybe it's pausing to reframe a negative thought. Maybe it's writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe it's setting a boundary that protects your peace. Whatever it is, start now, because every step counts. The journey to mastering your mindset isn't about perfection. It's about daily progress. And progress is always possible. If this episode resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who might need it today. Let's spread the power of breaking free from negativity and building more resilient, focused, and empowered minds. And if you've made it this far, I'd love to hear from you. What's one insight or lesson you're taking away? Drop it in the comments below. Thank you for walking this path with me. And always remember, the power to change your thoughts and your life is already within you. Until next time, stay mindful, stay intentional, and most importantly, keep building the best version of yourself. You've got this. If today's message touched something within you, don't let it end here. Take one idea from this video and put it into practice. Whether it's reframing a thought, setting a boundary, embracing gratitude, or simply pausing to breathe, do something today that your future self will thank you for. Share this episode with someone who might need a shift in perspective, a friend, a loved one, or even on your social media. You never know who's silently struggling and waiting for the right words at the right time. Reflect on what resonated with you most. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your insights, breakthroughs, or even your questions. Together, let's build a community grounded in clarity, strength, and inner peace. One thought, one habit, one courageous step at a time. Until next time, stay mindful, stay intentional, and keep showing up for the life you were meant to live. You've got this.